It doesn't matter what committee hearing you listen to. At the end of the day, the Democrat Party does not answer questions. They don't know how to do yes or no. And it is so frustrating. I've about had it. Simple question like, hey, is taxpayer money helping change a child's gender through surgery? Can't answer it. The fact that that question's even being asked is starting to really annoy me. 0 to 18, leave these kids alone. Leave them alone. You're going to cause a problem. A bad problem. Leave these kids alone. Listen to these Democrats. They are going to hurt every single child in this country if y'all don't start paying attention.
Chair, and quite honestly, Director Ahuja, I don't know where to start today. You can't or won't answer our questions, or maybe you're ignoring me right now as I'm speaking to you. You can or won't answer questions about whether or not the federal government funds sex change surgery on kids. Some on the left are calling that gender affirming care. Quite frankly, it's worse than that. There's no science.
They do that to make you, me, us look bad. We don't want to do this no more. So now the Democrats make us, oh, we don't care. We're mean. Answer the question. Do you agree with it or do you not? Because if you do not, you're going to vote MAGA.
Scientific data to support it. And just because someone doesn't agree with the chopping off the private parts of a 15-year-old doesn't mean we are bullying children. I find it ridiculous. Do whatever you want to do as an adult, but by God, don't do it to our kids. And I find it offensive.
Playing with these kids.
That my colleagues on the other side of the aisle are calling us bullies because we don't want to chop off the breasts of a 15-year-old girl. And we certainly don't want the federal government funding it. You can or won't answer questions on how many federal employees work from home. You're the director of the Office of Personnel Management. I don't know how. You don't know the answer to this question. You have obfuscated today. You can't even tell us the most basic data about how many federal employees worked from home before COVID, during COVID, and now after COVID. Like, why are you here?
Biden Democrats, they don't work. They don't work. They're 100 years old. What are we doing? They don't answer questions. They don't work. Everybody wanting to stay home. Go to work. Show up.
If you can't even answer our questions. You can answer questions all day long related to DEI, but you hide behind, you won't answer questions about bargaining agreements. You just hide behind them and won't answer those questions. Do you know what happens when you have a job in the private sector and you don't show up?
You get fired.
What happens?
Well, maybe not in today's world.
Congressman, I don't quite understand the question.
You're the director of the Office of Personnel Management, and you don't know in the private sector, if you don't show up to work, you know what happens? You get fired. Like, how do you oversee federal employees, and you can't even answer the simplest, most basic questions here today? Like, why are you here if you can't answer our questions?
Why did Biden appoint
you? Why are you here if you can't or won't answer our questions?
Congresswoman, I am trying my best to.
You're not. You're obfuscating. You're filibustering. You're refusing to answer the most basic of questions that the taxpayers, quite frankly, on both sides of the aisle, deserve to hear.
Do Americans not care about their money? Like, I know we in debt, and it's not all of our faults, but a lot of us got to start making better decisions, and we got to start caring about this money. Because it's going all over the place and it ain't going to nothing good. And if I tell you, we could cut all this spending and still do better than what these people are doing, I believe that.
Here, federal employees are not showing up to work. That is a fact.
It's a joke. No work ethic, no discipline.
You're physically here today.
Gimme.
But you are not actually showing up to work because you're not answering any of our questions. So I would like to know, my first question, my second question, why the director of the Office of Personnel Management doesn't know what's happening with federal employees.
Well,
Biden doesn't know his
Congresswoman,
name.
I do take issue with that characterization. I've
So
shared a
answer
lot
the
today
question.
on our guidance, our processes, how we're supporting agencies, whether it's telework, remote work, the benefits.
You haven't.
The
Do you think the American taxpayers who sign the front of your paycheck, do you think that they deserve answers?
No, she don't care.
We serve-
Do you think they deserve to know how many people aren't showing up to
None of
work?
them care.
Do the American taxpayers deserve to know that answer?
Well, Congresswoman, our employees show up every day and
They don't. They absolutely do not. And there's data
We all
showing
know
that,
that they don't.
supporting that. We've mentioned
Yeah.
that data today and you've ignored it. And in fact, you're not telling the truth. Cybersecurity is very important to this committee. I'm going to move on to another subject. Cybersecurity is very important to this committee. I had a hearing yesterday as a subcommittee chairman of technology and cybersecurity on oversight. We had a hearing with Dr. Eric Schmidt and others from MIT on AI. Do you know how many of our IT workers in the federal workforce are over the age of 60?
I don't know that exact
That's a
number,
great
but I know
question.
we trend within the cyber IT workforce.
Do you know how many of our federal employees in the IT space and our federal workforce are under the age of 30?
I believe it's 4% or a little less than.
Correct, it's just under 4%. Did you know that there are 4 times as many IT workers over the age of 60 than IT workers under the
Why
age
are
of
the
30?
Democrats so old?
I do know we swing. in the
Yes or
third
no?
direction.
That wasn't a filibustering question, yes or no? Did you know that?
I knew about
She
the,
don't know
Yes
nothing.
or no?
She's
Answer the question.
trash.
It's a simple question.
You're trash at your
So
job.
my
You're
last
getting
question to
fired.
you is, what are you doing to
November 5th,
reform the hiring
2024.
process to take
You
on
get
these
fired.
jobs when all these individuals retire who are over the age of 60?
Thank you for that question. We actually have a robust cyber talent management plan that we are looking to submit to Congress very soon. That is going to focus on hiring flexibilities and
You
other
get
efforts
fired.
across
Stop talking.
government, similar to what we've done with DoD and DHS. It is about increase in pay, other flexibilities, so we can bring.
Does that
Let's
include,
work more
does that
pay.
include education as well? Because there are a lot of IT workers don't need a 4-year college
Gotta
degree to
do
do their
DEI
jobs.
too, you know?
I'm sorry, could you repeat?
Does it
All up in
include
that.
education considerations? Like you don't need a 4-year degree to be a computer IT engineer.
No, absolutely. We have a whole effort around skills-based hiring and the IT cyber community is a perfect
That's right,
example of it. Doesn't matter like where you get your skills or, you know, whether you got a particular degree or education, but actually that you have those skills.
It's so hard.
Thank
to
you,
listen to
Madam
this.
Chair, and I yield
Listen.
back.
This is a year ago. You can go back 3 years ago. Like we got the evidence. What y'all doing? What y'all think about? What you arguing about? There's nothing to argue about. There ain't nothing to argue about. The only reason you arguing is because you insecure and you mad. Because Democrats, they losing. This is all nonsense, and you should want them to lose.